Hi everyone, my name is Jaden, and in my presentation I'll be covering twin development and how studying twins has helped us better understand child and adolescent development. Twins are super fascinating because they allow researchers to study the roles that both genetics and environment plays in our development, nature versus nurture. So yeah, throughout this presentation, I'll kind of explain the different types of twins and how twin studies contribute to our understanding of development, and yeah, and maybe some unique challenges twins may face, and ways that parents and caregivers can support healthy development within a twin's lifespan. So, okay, so for starters, there are two main types of twins. There's identical, which is called monozygotic, and there's fraternal, which is called dizygotic. And the biggest difference between the two is that monozygotic, they develop from a singular egg that eventually splits into two embryos, versus the fraternal twins, the dizygotic twins, they come from two separate eggs that were fertilized by two different sperm cells. So they don't share identical DNA. Um, and yeah, twins have done wonders for researching nature versus nurture. They often study twins because they provide an opportunity to compare the effects of genetics and environment. And by like looking at by looking at similarities and differences between identical and fraternal twins, we can get a better understanding of how or what aspects of development are inherited and what aspects are influenced by life experiences. Um, a fun fact that I discovered is that identical twins actually don't share the same fingerprint, because even within the confines of the womb, the fetus touches different parts of it, um, which causes variations in their print. So even though they are physically identical, they actually do have different fingerprints, which I thought was very fascinating. It was more something that I've never thought of before, but yeah, I thought I'd share that. Yeah, so one of the biggest debates in psychology is, or specifically developmental psychology, it's the debate between nature versus nurture. And nature refers to the influence of genetics, while nature refers more to the influence of the environment, which would include like parenting, education, culture, and life experiences. Um, Twin studies have shown that development is not only determined by one of these two factors, but it's actually more of a collaborative effort. And in this case study, the Minnesota study of twins reared apart, um, Thomas J. Burchard, I believe, Thomas J. Burchard, he conducted a study with 100 pairs of twins that were raised apart. The most famous of which you might recognize, they were called the Jim twins. They were raised apart shortly after birth, and then they were reunited at 39 or 40 years old. Um, and then eventually, when they were reunited, researchers compared their lives, and they found that there are these astonishing similarities. They both named their dog's toy. They both married women with the same name, and then they both got divorced and remarried another woman with the same name. Um, they both named their sons the same name. They both worked in law enforcement, or like a law enforcement adjacent um, profession, and they both smoke the same brand of cigarette. The list goes on. It's quite crazy. Um, and yeah, this clearly caught the attention of scientists because like it's almost unbelievable. So, however, despite finding all these similarities, there were also many differences, which proves that environment still does matter. A lot of the twins, they differed in like political beliefs and religious beliefs, the types of friends they were around, the community that they would seek, um, the level of education that they pursued, and their coping skills. So yeah, the conclusion wasn't that genes determine everything, despite all these crazy similarities that they had, but it actually showed that genetics and environment work together to shape development. Um, so yeah, and actually, yeah, I think that's it. Many twins develop incredibly close relationships with one another. Since they're often raised in the same environment, they experience a lot of the same things. Um, and this caused them to share a very strong emotional bond. Some people even describe twins having these unique connections. You might have heard of the term twin telepathy. Uh, this refers to like the occasional occurrence where twins thinking align. Um, and it's almost like it comes off as them being able to read each other's thoughts. Obviously, that's a myth and an exaggeration, but um, it just goes to show that the strength of that bond that they have and how sometimes their personalities can mesh. Um, at the same time, it's very important that twins are actually encouraged to develop their own identities. If they're constantly treated as one unit or they're compared to one another, it can make it way harder for a child to discover their own strength and their own interests, their own path. So, a way that parents and teachers can help is by encouraging separate hobbies and having um, like differences in friends, not like totally different friend groups or whatever, but um, maybe exploring different communities so they have their own space, exploring different activities and hobbies. So um, really, so each twin can develop their own confidence and their individuality while still maintaining their close sibling relationship. Although there are a lot of unique positives to having a twin, there are also a lot of unique challenges. One of the challenges is that pregnancies are a lot more likely to result in premature births or lower birth weights. This is actually because uh, the twins they share one placenta, so this is why you never see, um, or if you see like a pregnant lady carrying twins versus a pregnant lady only carrying one child, there really doesn't appear to be too much of a difference. It doesn't double the size. It actually just causes the twins to grow, or yeah, grow a little bit smaller or be birthed a little bit smaller. Um, so yeah, these medical complications they may require a lot more monitoring because of this. Um, yeah, and another challenge that twins face is constant comparison. Um, they're often compared academically or socially, athletically, um, physically, and although these like comparisons they might seem harmless or it might seem like it gives them this unique life, it actually can cause a lot of self-esteem issues or can create like unnecessary competition between the two. Um, Twins often they struggle with role confusion. They're constantly expected to act alike instead of being recognized as individuals. Um, and yeah, understanding these challenges it helps caregivers provide support that encourages a healthy emotional development. So, as a parent or a caregiver, how can you support twins? I would say that the most important thing is encouraging individuality. Um, Even though these twins they share many experiences, they should be recognized as their own person and have their own personality, their own talents and interests. I think parents should also make an effort to spend one-on-one time with each child whenever possible. This helps the twins feel a little bit more valued and again builds on that individuality. Um, and yeah, I think caregivers should also just continue monitoring developmental milestones, um, such as like birthdays, making sure that the kid can have their own birthday rather than sharing everything. I also think just finally maintaining supportive family relationships and open communication, it creates an environment where both twins can thrive emotionally, um, and socially and academically. So, okay, so to wrap everything up, I hope this presentation showed that twin development, it's about more than just having the same DNA. Even though identical twins are genetically almost the exact same, uh, they can still grow into very different people. The biggest thing researchers have learned is not just that nature or nurture shapes us. It's both that work collaboratively. Uh, our genes, they give us a starting point, and our experiences, the people around us, and the environment we grow up in, it all shapes who we are and who we become. I think that's what makes studying twins so interesting, is that they remind us that every child is unique, even if they start life with almost the exact same genetics. So, yeah, thank you guys for listening. And here are my references.